the Gotta Have Miami show. We know it's been a while. It's been what? About a month?
According to YouTube, it's been 1 month.
It's been 1 month and for a couple days. So we apologize that we haven't been back at you. I think this is episode 35.
This is episode 35 of the Gotta Have Miami show.
Gotta Have Miami show. So so we were out of town. I was in Canada, Montreal.
International
and Quebec.
traveling.
I was internationally traveling. And then I came back with an international bug for the first time in 2 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it got me. The Omicron finally got me, and then we had to go into isolation. And then I did a little tri race.
So we knew he was okay when he made it through the tri race.
Right, so I didn't drown, even though they said it was a quarter mile, but it was really a lot more because I was in the water forever. We made it and we're back, and we're just kind of regrouping, catching up. I mean, we had a big event with Hurricane Ian,
right?
Which is going to affect the markets. I think we talked about that on the Hal show, the Hal and Hoff show, and I think it's really going to be a huge impact moving forward, especially in next year.
A bunch of different categories.
And a bunch of different things. Let's see how this starts to play out, but really in the condo market, I think it's going to be a really, really big player next year.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some of that. And then we are in Kennedy Park.
We are in Kennedy Park.
Which is not named for any of the famous Kennedys that you know. It's actually named for a Miami mayor.
A Miami mayor, David Kennedy.
David Kennedy.
A lover of dogs.
That's why we have the dog park behind us. Now, with truth be told, this dog park wasn't here before. It came in a lot later because when I was a kid, I used to roam out here and there was no dog park.
Well, in an attempt to try and find out when this park was opened, I couldn't find that number, but it said that Mr. David Kennedy loved dogs, and this is why it's a dog park.
And that's why they've got a dog park, but I know that it wasn't when the original, they used to have we did have the trail, but we also had the Frisbee golf, and I don't know if the Frisbee golf is still around.
No, I don't think it's here.
We used to come here as kids all the time and play and have,
maybe it's on the other side.
Yeah, so, and off my glasses, you're going to see the bay, so just make sure that
and all the federally protected mangroves.
All the federally protected mangroves that some people hate, some people. We do have a huge audience today viewing this podcast.
It includes squirrels and iguanas.
A ton of iguanas. Now, apparently they've all left because they were all over the place. But again, we digress, as we like to say. So thank you for tuning in and coming back. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, let's get into our real estate topics.
All right. What is the topics of real estate?
I'm going to beat it over ahead like I have been doing since I became a realtor myself.
There you go.
Home ownership.
Home ownership.
Let's see, how can I put this? Simply put, it's tough to buy a home, but once you got it,
you got it.
You got it. I don't have to worry about my landlord raising my rent or telling me he's going to lease it to his cousin and I got to go.
Yep, which is usually a lie, by the way. They just want you out. So whenever you hear that family comment, I just had somebody come in from Cuba, it's a lie. They basically just want you out. 95% of the time. Yep, exactly. Yep.
So, it is hard to buy a home.
Yeah,
I acknowledge that. And I've read this week that one of the biggest barriers to buying a home is that most people think they need to put at least 20% down.
Yeah,
that seems to be the biggest barrier. And it's just not the case. There's other ways around it. I've seen first-time home buyers go in with less than 10%, some even less than 5%, then you add closing costs, about 5%. It's possible. I see renters struggling. I've been helping a lot of renters lately, and they struggle.
Yeah, and that's just and that turnover that you see that we've had some that haven't been able to pay the increases, so we're moving them.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but the landlords really right now are they can command a certain amount of rent. But to your point, and you've mentioned it, and I agree completely. You have a mortgage payment, and the mortgage payment is X amount. Whatever it is.
You have a fixed interest.
It's a fixed interest rate. It's fixed. You're going to be sitting there, and your mortgage is not going to go up or down. Your taxes are going to go up and down. Your insurance may go up and down. I think that's very important, that when you do look at these homes, that when you're trying to purchase this, do something that has some insurance protection in the sense of impact windows, newer roofs, all of those little details. But at least what your payment is going to be on a monthly level, on a yearly level, and then the increases aren't going to be as dramatic as some of a landlord's increase. The landlord's increases have been going anywhere 20, 30, 40%. Yeah. And they're commanding them, they're still getting them. But like you said, your mortgage stays the same.
Stays the same. And worst case scenario, you want to leave Miami or wherever you bought a house, or financial hardship and you need to live somewhere cheaper, you can rent your property or you can sell it for a profit. Or just sell it and get rid of it. Whatever. Everyone's situation is different and unique. but you just have more control of your living situation and your finances when you own your home.
As we like to say in the industry, you have site control. You control the land, you can control what you want to do with it. And as we have mentioned many, many times in these podcasts, land in Miami and Miami-Dade County is really the biggest asset that we have. It is something that we can't replace. And every day it becomes a little tighter and tighter. I think something that you're going to see from Hurricane Ian is that you're not going to be able to build up to a certain point of shorelines. So I think that's going to be one of the dramatic impacts that you're going to see. You're not going to be able to rebuild on a coastal property unless you take certain requirements. But at the end of the day, you're still going to expose yourself because what happened to Fort Myers was just dramatic and tragic. So we build a little bit differently here in Miami-Dade County. We usually can hold up to storms a little bit better. But I think that's really one of the things that could play out is that you won't be able to rebuild where your property was at the time. Like right across the way, we have some homes that are directly on the bay. Let's say a big storm pushes through here and the storm surge, those have already been changed where the codes make the first level, you can't inhabit your first level. But let's see how that would impact the storm if it came through here, because these guys are directly right on the water. So I think that's really going to be one of the big things. And also, just like we mentioned, the insurance aspect of it.
Insurance is probably the biggest.
Yeah. And we'll see that. I think we'll see that play out more in 2023.
Yeah. Definitely next year.
Yeah.
But also with renters, every year that you're moving, you have to come up with a security deposit. And I mean,
and you're moving.
No, and the moving expense. But most landlords are now requiring 2 months security deposit. So every year you have to come up with 5, 6, 7, whatever your rent is, double it just to move, and then add your moving expense. And then beg your landlord to give you your full security deposit back.
If they're not calling out something, and then it's also a process, and it takes time for you to get that. So really, if you're looking at these rents that are now, 26, and this has always been one of those barometers that we've looked at. When you're looking at a one bedroom at $2,600, Miami-Dade is a big place. Yeah, we got people that always want to live like in Brickell or Coconut Grove, wherever. But Miami-Dade has a lot of properties, a lot to offer from all over. And I think every day we did a podcast a couple of months ago from Baptist behind the lake. And one of the things, the takeaway was that all of these little communities are becoming more and more engaged in what younger populations look forward to, like a dog park, like a park. In your neighborhood, they just built up another park in the area. So I think as these communities become more and more involved in what people are looking for, and they're evolving not just from some suburban, sleepy community, they're actually becoming a little bit as urban as they possibly can be. There's a Panera bread on every corner. I mean, something to that extent. That's a shout out to Panera bread.
I haven't had Panera in months.
I don't even know where the heck it is, but I figure that's the only thing I could think of. But again, I think it's evolving, and you're starting to get more little unique restaurants. I mean, just think about it. A couple of years ago, it was probably several years ago, Coral Way didn't have any any kind of cuisine or any kind of dining.
Not talking about Miracle Mile.
No, Coral Way on the other side. We're not talking in the Gable side, we're talking on the Miami side. And all of a sudden you've got all these great little spots that are opening up. Same thing is happening, in areas that are attainable to folks.
I mean, you can't expect that you're going to live in the middle of Coconut Grove, for your first time home. Unless you're coming from the hedge fund universe down in New York, and if you are, it's possible.
And if you are, I just hate to break it to you, you're overpaying by a little bit, but that's fine. That's what's just a reality.
Another point regarding the market, because it's no secret that interest rates are up, and everyone thinks that the market is like coming to a halt. So real estate is influenced by basically everything, right? It's everything. International markets, stock markets, everything influences real estate. And in the same breath, real estate is a necessity. We all need somewhere to live.
Exactly.
Divorces, court orders to sell a home, just you want to relocate. I mean, there's a bajillion reasons why people buy and sell their homes. So with the interest rates high, I want to encourage first-time home buyers to don't get discouraged. Focus on the price of the home and the quote-unquote discount you'll get in this scenario, because you get the price of your home, and in 2 years when the interest rates do what the interest rates do.
Rates ebb and flow, just like real estate ebb and flows. In certain markets, I'll talk a little bit about that too.
I just want to spell it out because some, people that aren't in finance, they don't understand. You buy a house for $500,000, you pay 7% interest on it. You're going to have probably a payment that you're not crazy about. But in a year or two, when the interest rates go back down to 3-4%,
whatever they will be, we don't know if they're going to be 3 or 4, but whatever they drop down to, you have the ability to refi.
You have the ability to refinance. So you hold on to that price that you had,
your price doesn't change. It doesn't change. It's
Right.
the same thing with the, when you talk about the stock market. Oh, I've lost all this money, but you haven't lost the shares. So you still have the shares of the property. You still own the property. And I think, one of your points has always been home ownership has always been one of the great equalizers, one of the top investments. And again, we've talked about this on other shows. We changed that with some tax laws, and it has affected the way that people view real estate as regular individuals. I mean, as people that are going to live in the property. Everybody now is looking at it from an investment or a short-term investment, or this property has to make this amount of money for it. Going back to your rent analogy, it's where you live. It's where you raise your kids. It's where you do all of the things that you do that we call life.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it really is for that reason. And I've always argued this point. I mean, we'd have a bunch of agents out there that are always talking statistics this, statistics that, and I've always said they're for losers. If you watch the Dolphins play Buffalo statted our butts off, and we won the game. So it really doesn't matter, but you get all of these agents that just focus on these stats and these numbers. They change every year. If you go back and read that same thing 10 years from now, it won't make any sense. It's where you live. And I can't stress that enough. There are times that there are values. If you're an investor, a completely different animal.
Yeah.
We're talking about a different conversation. We're talking about a different, you can invest money anywhere and put it anywhere from real estate. But I think as a homeowner, and we see this, we get it, we get a lot of this because we do a lot of first-time home buyers, and we get a lot of people that are just, coming into the market. And it's, when's a good time? When's a bad time? Listen, the only thing is today.
That's correct.
That's it. I ain't gonna predict the future, and I can tell you about the past, and it doesn't. There's what's the old saying? People that forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And I think you do it. Like, let's say you were looking 2 years ago and you were holding off because the market was going to tank. Well, you just blew it because the market didn't tank. And then you were, again, think about pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Think about COVID. You were looking at 2019. I'm not worried about 2020 hit you. You didn't know what the heck was going to happen, and prices quadrupled. Yeah. So at the end of the day, are they going to drop some? They're not going to drop. They're going to balance out as where it should be. Interest rates are going to take buyers off of the place that have to rent, but the market will still bear for one simple reason, folks. If I turn the camera around, there's water on one side and we got the Everglades on the other side. We can't build more with the current building codes.
But let's talk about the normal person. Considering the normal person.
And in quotation
the non-investor, the normal people, the people who are just buying a house because they need somewhere to live. There are more and more entrepreneurs, right? And there's no secret that you're not getting the company 401k, whatever, when you're an entrepreneur. So investment becomes more important as an entrepreneur. There was a statistic, talking about statistics.
Oh boy.
That I don't even remember what the numbers were, but there's just this huge increase in entrepreneurs in South Florida.
Oh, well, for sure.
And I mean, it's part of our culture, but even the newcomers to Florida, and it's just the young hustle culture. There's a lot of entrepreneurs, and we even have, I'm thinking of one specific client that she wants to make a real estate move to live in a house, but her end goal is ultimately investment. It's an investment vehicle for her.
And I think you look at these properties that way, but again, on the initial, it is where you're going to be living.
Correct.
And then after that, what you do with that property, you can do it. If it's making huge amounts of money, then you can, sell it, turn it into something else, or keep it and turn it into a rental market. There is money involved in it, but everybody that goes and focuses, oh my God, it's going to go up 3%, 5%, 20%. We have no idea. No one has any idea. Anybody that tells you they have an idea is lying to you. There is no way. And by the way, ethically, we aren't even supposed to tell you. Right. Hey, this property is going to make X amount in 2 years. We ain't investment people.
No.
We're realtors.
Yeah, we could give you the numbers today.
Today. I can tell you what's about, and that's about it. So I think we're back on track.
We are back on
We
track.
got a that's me dancing. I dance very good on chairs. We're back on track. We got a podcast in.
Yes.
So we're trying to get this back going. We got some things coming up this weekend. Hopefully we'll have something for Friday. And I think we're going to have a lot more political talk coming. Yeah, we have the midterms, and we have a lot of stuff that's influencing. A couple of things going down in Miami-Dade County and also in the city of Miami, so we'll get to those on Friday.
All right.
Sounds good?
Yeah, so
All
we'll
right.
see you on Friday. Thanks
The
for
lizards
joining.
are getting closer, so
Should we show them the lizards?
show them the lizards. Just flip it over, see if they can see the lizards. See the lizards?
Can you see lizards? We don't know if you can,
Yeah. So
but they're all there.
wow, this is new in our video. See you guys.